Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects on the entire planet. Seriously, it's a plan to physically weave the European continent together with this incredible, state-of-the-art network of roads, railways, and waterways.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to break this huge transport plan down into 5 key pieces. We'll start with the big idea, the why. Then look at how they're actually building it, the new rules everyone has to play by, how it's all managed, and stick around for the last part. There's a pretty surprising hidden purpose for this whole thing.
So first up, let's talk about the big idea. Why would you spend decades and, billions upon billions of euros just to connect an entire continent? What's the real driver here?
Well, it all boils down to this one massive question. How do you actually get rid of all the physical barriers for travel and for trade across 27 different countries? I mean, you've got different rail gauges, different rules, different systems. How do you smooth all of that out?
The answer is a policy with a kind of technical name, but a really simple goal: the Trans-European Transport Network, or as you'll hear it called, the TEN-T. You can basically think of it as the master blueprint for every major road, railway, and shipping route across the whole EU.
And this right here, this is the core mission. What's so interesting is that it's not just about, building a new highway or a new train track. It's about actively hunting down and getting rid of every single little thing that slows down movement between countries. Every missing bridge, every incompatible rail signal, every port that's just a little too small.
And the goals, they go way beyond just getting from point A to point B a little faster. This is really an economic and a social project. It's all designed to boost trade, make it easier for you to get a job in another region, connect remote communities, and, this is a big one, shift transport to more sustainable options, like rail, to cut down on the climate impact.
Okay, so how do you even begin to build something this big? You can't just flip a switch and upgrade an entire continent overnight. The EU's answer, though, is actually a pretty clever blueprint.
The whole plan is broken down into 3 logical phases, each spanning a decade. It's this layered approach, right? You start with the most critical connections, and then you just build outwards until every single region is included.
And this timeline, it just shows you the incredible long-term vision they have. By 2030, the goal is to have the core network done. Think of these as the main arteries connecting the biggest and most important cities. Then, by 2040, that core gets bigger. And finally, by 2050, the comprehensive network is finished, making sure even the most remote parts of the EU are plugged into this continental grid.
So let's talk about what all these upgrades are actually going to mean on the ground. Because if you want to create one single massive network, you kind of need one big rule book for everybody to follow.
And here are just some of those new rules. To get that seamless network, everybody has to adopt the same standards. And that means everything from minimum speeds for trains to a single unified signaling system for all railways, to making sure there are enough charging points for electric cars all along the routes.
Take rail speed. By 2040, every single one of the key passenger lines on this network has to be able to handle trains going at least 160 kilometers per hour. That's about 100 miles an hour. And that's not the goal, that's the baseline, the minimum standard for the whole continent.
And check this out. Here's a rule that is specifically designed to cut down on air travel. Any major airport that handles more than 12 million passengers a year must be connected by long-distance rail. The idea is to make hopping on a train a genuinely competitive and convenient alternative to taking those short one-hour flights between cities.
So you've got to be wondering, how on earth does the EU manage a project that crosses so many borders? You're dealing with countless local governments, transport companies, construction firms. It seems impossible.
Well, the answer is you simplify. They've organized the entire sprawling network into just 9 main transport corridors. Things like the Scandinavian-Mediterranean corridor or the Rhine-Danube corridor. Each one represents a major flow of people and goods. And suddenly, a continent-sized problem becomes a lot more manageable.
And to make sure things actually get done, each of those 9 corridors gets its own European coordinator. This person's job is basically to oversee all the progress, to negotiate between countries, and to act as the champion for their slice of the project just to make sure it stays on track.
Okay, now for that surprising part I mentioned. Let's dig into a hidden dual purpose for this massive civilian project. It turns out this network isn't just about getting you to your holiday destination or moving cargo.
I mean, think about it. What if the same high-speed rail lines and reinforced bridges that are designed for tourists and cargo could also be used for something else entirely?
Well, it turns out the TEN-T network is explicitly designed for dual use, that's both civilian and military.
The very same seamless routes that are built to boost the economy are also designed to allow for the swift, large-scale movement of military troops and equipment across the continent. You know, if that need should ever arise.
And this isn't just some abstract idea. It's literally baked into the funding. EU financial programs like the Connecting Europe Facility specifically set aside money to make sure that new infrastructure projects meet all the strict requirements for both civilian and military mobility.
So as this massive network physically stitches the continent closer and closer together over the next couple of decades, it kind of leaves you with a final thought. When the physical lines on the map, all the bottlenecks and the border delays, when they start to matter less and less, what other barriers, maybe social or economic, might start to fall down too?